Hello everyone, this is Chris with Sticker Fab. Today I have our 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser, and this was more of a honeydew project. My wife came from a Defender and she really liked the digital rear view mirror that it had in that vehicle, and we basically traded in our Bronco Raptor for this vehicle, and we didn't want to spend any money. We wanted to actually come out a little bit ahead trading that in. So we got what was available on the lot at that time, and it was a Land Cruiser but without the premium package. So we didn't get the digital rear view mirror from the factory, but I added this Wolfbox for her finally and got it all wired up, and this video is just going to document kind of how I did that. Here is the rear view camera right now. I can swipe right and get the front view. You can see it's kind of obstructed in this corner because of how bulky all of that is. I did take off the OEM camera, which was right here, and I didn't realize it until it was off, but I'm glad that it is not blocking our view in this area. I could move it over to this side to get an unobstructed view of the front, but I think this is gonna be okay for right now. So this is optional. It's the GPS, and it tells you what direction you're pointed in. I can remove that from the screen really easily. There's a bunch of settings in here. I can also move the view up, move the view down. Let me set it in the right place. When it's actually recording, it's going to get a much larger view. I can dim it by going up and down on the right side here. Let me swipe back for the rear camera. On this one, of course, you can go up and down. If you had a trailer, you could look at it. And then on this side, it zooms in and zooms out. Over here, we have the GPS module. I moved it down a bit because it wasn't getting any satellites. We can go into our settings down here. And make sure the GPS information is good and picking up at least 3 satellites. All right, this is a huge work in progress. I've actually moved it all the way down here so we can get a better view of the sky. You want this side to point up ideally. Just something real quick before I move on. To get the best view out of the front, you want to move it over to the left as much as possible, but you want to make sure that the sun visor doesn't clip it when moving it up and down. If you guys were wondering about the removal of the Homelink, I'm not sure we're going to keep this vehicle for very long, so I don't know if I'll install something else, but there are universal modules that you can get where you can install it pretty much anywhere. You could cut this open, I don't know if you want to do that, and install it right here like many other vehicles have it. You could put it in the headliner. You could probably drill out a hole and put it right up in here somewhere as well, and then you'll have an OEM type setup again where it won't be able to be used when the ignition's off, so that helps with theft. Or you can just keep a mobile garage door opener, just a clicker somewhere. You can keep it, of course, on your visor like any other vehicle, or maybe you can tape it right in this blank area right here. This video is solely about accessing the wires behind these 2 covers, and I'm also going to show you how to take down the dome light assembly. So what you want to do is kind of grab this in the middle, and you pull it out and rotate it upwards towards the headliner, just like that. And then the bottom one, you slide straight down, just like that. I'm going to put that one back. And I'll put this one back to kind of just the same, just the reverse of pulling it out. So it kind of rotates downward, and then it will clip in. Sometimes you gotta play with it to get this seam nice and tight. So there are 2 clips right here, and they just shove into there. They're just more like pins. So you don't want to pull this down or you'll break those. What you want to do is kind of push the headliner up until you can get your fingers up under here, and then you pull down. You just rotate that out. You'll see there are pop clips there and there, but you don't want to break these tabs the way you put it back in. Just the reverse. You want to put that in first, and then just put a little force until it all snaps in. I did have to remove the OEM mirror and the OEM camera that I had. It is a 10-pin connector. I'm not reinstalling that. I'm using an OEM style mount. So the Dongar will plug into that, and that's how I'll get power using the 10-pin connector. The Dongar has 3 options for power. It can run on ignition power. It can stay on indefinitely, and it can also just run for 4 hours. Those are your 3 options right there. So I connected all of that up. It's plug and play, really super simple. I will have to mount this box on the outside so I can switch it up if needed. This is where the OEM camera was, and that was so incredibly hard to pull off. I had to get behind this area and undo 2 zip ties and unplug it from this factory connector right here. This portion is being filmed a couple weeks later. I wanted to try it out with arm style number 1, is what you see in the majority of this video, and this is arm style number 190. There are going to be a couple of advantages and disadvantages. Let me go to the front view. It is less obstructed with this because it lowers it down and pushes it out just a little bit. However, this is going to be in your field of vision more than if you do arm style number 1. With arm style number 190, you don't need to notch this as much. You can see I just need to notch it just a little bit, but for arm style number 1, it needs to be a little bit more. You could go just a little bit less on arm style number 1, maybe right there. Just look at my videos and then make that decision. You can see how this drops it down a little bit. So take that into consideration. Maybe purchase both arms and see which one you like the most. My initial impressions is that this is not going to bother me too much because I'm only 5'8" on a good day and my wife is 5'1". Plus, I'm used to driving Ford Broncos, which don't have a very tall windshield, so the field of vision is not that good in those anyways. So I've mounted the camera right here for now. I don't have the adhesive in between this plate and the carpet because those screws need to have something to grip into, and if the adhesive there is too thick, I've wired it and I will be running this up and along here. I decided not to go this route because the camera will move when the tailgate goes up. I want to take this trim panel off, run the wire inside of here, take this panel off, and then screw it right onto there. You can definitely do that. I have all these rubber gaskets pulled out. Really easy to do that. I didn't actually need to take the covers off of this and take this off. You can wire it up and around here and then just push the wire in through there, put it along that ledge and in behind this panel for the B-pillar. All right, so I've routed the wire into the C-pillar area and the D-pillar area. From here, I put it in between the carpet and this plastic window trim. I used a screwdriver. I just pushed on it until it kind of fell back in here. And then we have the D-pillar right here. I put some wire in the D-pillar and then kind of tugged it until it started to slip behind this carpet and this trim panel. And then the extra I just pushed in so you can't see it. This is where I'll store all my extra wire. All right, so I've wired it up so I can verify that it is working. You can see my bald head right there. I'll adjust the angle of the camera and the final left, right, up, down, everything like that in a moment. I'm gonna put all this extra wire right there. All right, so this is the gap that I used to stuff in all the extra wire. There's probably 6 feet worth of it right up in this area, out of sight, out of mind, won't get snagged on and you won't see it. So you guys might have noticed a red wire hanging down. That wire can be hooked up to the left tail light, the right tail light, or your trailer harness, and it is to put backup lines on your camera. Why would you need backup lines on your camera when you already have it on your OEM reverse camera? Well, let's say that you're running a setup where the spare tire is too big, or you want to just move your spare tire to your rear bumper. Now that tire is going to be kind of in this area, so you won't be able to see using your stock camera, but you would be able to see using the Wolfbox because the camera is mounted so high up think of it like this. Putting your tire on your tailgate will block this entire view, so the only way you could see was if something is mounted nice and high. All right, so looky there, those two little screws could not hold it into the carpet. However, I made this little acrylic bracket. We have some little slots for the camera to mount right there with a little bit of adjustability. And then we have these bigger holes, and I'll go show you what those do. So if you have a camera from the factory, i.e. you have a first edition or a premium package, your camera is right here already. Someone installed the Wolfbox and they installed the camera right under that. However, I went right here, like I mentioned earlier, and those two little spots are from the small screws. You really can't see it that bad up here. And I even did the larger self-tapping screws right there. What we are doing is drilling those larger self-tapping screws into this little plastic bracket right there. So I'm removing that 3M backing, and then I'll get my self-tapping screws, align it, and screw it in. Since we're using self-tapping screws, everything is done with hand tools and everything is hand tight. I am using the double hinge on that Wolfbox camera, and it looks like this. So I did have to elongate the hole on the upper mirror cover. I will go back to Wolfbox and see if there are any other arms that may have less or no interference. The way I elongated this hole is that I cut it as much as possible in my laser bed with it not catching on fire basically or making too many harmful fumes. And then I used a Dremel, cut into it a little bit, and the rest of it I was able to just break off with my hands. Here are a couple photos of the final position for the rear camera. Because I had that double hinge, I was able to push the camera out towards the glass a little bit more to get a better view. Sorry for that hodgepodge of videos. I didn't really know what I would be facing over this 2-day install, but got it all done. If you guys have any questions, please just reach out to me. We have a lot of these items, including the Wolfbox, that little bracket for the rear camera, and more on our website at stickerfab.com. Please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not already, and hit that bell notification icon for the latest and greatest things I'm doing on the 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser.